Hey, how's it going? How's it going, everybody? Tuning in on YouTube. Another great day, another great week. Lots of cool stuff been happening. I'm sure a lot of neat things have been happening in your life as well. Because I've heard from a few friends this week, and then in the last few weeks, just lots of updates, lots of similar updates. So I feel like it's happening on a maybe even on a global scale. So congratulations to whatever new updates are happening in your life. Today I was watching, I don't know if you might see on my TV over there, I was watching a video by Phil Good, and I was taking notes and stuff like that. And one sec. One of the things that he mentioned, which I've been learning a lot the last I guess year. Um, it comes to it comes down to projection and people's insecurities. People project their insecurities onto you because they're fighting. They're in resistance to what's happening in them, and they find things in other people, characteristics, personality traits, success, all that in other people that triggers them, and then they have to release their frustration onto you by trying to put you down. You know, sometimes these people are called haters. They might be people you don't know, on social media, this and that, or they might be family, they might be friends, they might be one of your best friends, even your romantic partner sometimes. So it's interesting. So he talks about, say like you invite somebody over, you know, for a meal or whatever. They come into your house, and maybe they start pointing out like, oh, that's dirty, this is dirty, this is dirty. You should really clean that. Or they eat the meal that you've prepared for them, and they're like, that's disgusting. Like, what kind of a reaction would you have to that? So basically, it's when people treat you poorly, they're not actually entering your home with their own dirty feet, or saying your meal is disgusting. They're actually entering their own illusion of what they're still projecting. And it has nothing to do with you. Since we were children, we've gained insecurities because of whatever he said or she said in school. Geez, I remember I used to get pretty self-conscious about the lunches I would bring to school, because my mom, every now and then, well, not every now and then, but a lot of times there were, because we would, on Wednesdays and Fridays, we would have sort of like Lent days. So like in our religion, there was, we couldn't have like meat and dairy products on Wednesdays and Fridays. So usually on Wednesdays and Fridays, my brother and I would either get PB&Js or tuna fish sandwiches. Now, both are quite delicious. I love them. I still eat them now. But when the sandwich has been prepared at 6:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then stays in an awesome plastic Power Rangers or Scooby-Doo lunchbox throughout the day without being chilled, and you know where I'm going with this, it gets soggy, and then when you open that up, that smell goes throughout the cafeteria, and everyone's like, ew, ew. So I'm sure you have memories like this. So, and that sticks with you. And when it happens day after day, week after week, grade after grade, there were definitely a lot of times, I'll admit it, I threw it out. And if I had like $2 or something on me, I would go buy something completely different. I wouldn't tell my mom that I threw out the food. I just didn't want to be embarrassed anymore, or I didn't want people to make fun of me. It's crazy. I haven't talked about this in a long time. And there were many times where I went up to other students, and if it looked like they weren't done eating their burger, because I love burgers. What kid doesn't want burgers? I went up to them. I was like, "Hey, are you going to finish that?" And most would be like, "Oh, no. Here, do you want it?" And I would eat it because I had to eat, and I wanted to eat something cool. But I definitely remember this one kid Thought it was weird that I was asking him, and he's like, "No, I'm not gonna finish it." And I'm like, "Oh, well, could I have it?" And he's like, "No." He grabbed the burger, got up, looked at me, walked all the way to the trash can, and just dumped it right in the trash can. Yeah, it was pretty hurtful. But anyway, so when we carry these kinds of memories and this trauma in us, and we don't deal with it, it comes out. It comes out in all kinds of situations. Like I said, in relationships, friendships, in family, in the workplace, with strangers. It comes out, especially if it's not dealt with. And these memories might seem so small. Like if you went up to somebody who you believe is projecting onto you and telling you things that are pretty rude and hurtful. And if you ask them, hey, do you know, if you could think back to an early memory in your childhood where somebody made fun of you or hurt you, do you think you have something like that where it's just coming out of you now and this is the reason why you're saying these things to me? Because it's coming from love. Because here you realize, okay, it has nothing to do with you, and you're showing them love and saying, hey, consider this. And if it's true, what do you think that memory is? Because then you're opening it up. You're not telling them, hey, you're an asshole or you're a horrible person, you're so unloving. You're realizing that there's an issue within them, an issue. There's a time when they got hurt, and this is an opportunity for them to realize it and then to heal. I befriended somebody, I would say it's got to be almost 2 years now. I think a year and a half. 2020, it was so quick. But somewhere in that time frame, I befriended somebody who him and I got along very well. The jokes were great, this and that. Oh my, really great guy. Went on trip with a few people, and wonderful dude, great heart. Sadly, as the months went on, our friendship went on, learned a lot of tragic things that happened in his life, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and it was clear the way how he spoke, not just about others, and it would be repetition. So we have stories that we tell ourselves and always tell other people, and especially if most people won't be like, hey man, hey girl, like, I totally get it. It must have been hard, but we got to move forward. You got to move forward. You can't keep saying the same stories, and it's just not healthy. Not just unhealthy for you, but for our friendship. Because when you bring that stuff in there, it just brings the mood down. It brings your energy levels down. So yeah, but then eventually, after having a few drinks, this what the guys do, we go out, have some fun, things would get heated, and he would say things that were out of nowhere, and eventually it just became so hurtful. I just said, I'm out. I first said, like, you know what, I am this and I am that. Yeah, I've got to be. Of course I'm this, I'm that, I'm A, B, C. I was being sarcastic because it really did hurt, and I was in such a disbelief that this person was projecting his own stories onto me and saying I am these things, and I know in my heart that I'm not. So I chose, like, goodbye, like pretty much goodbye forever. And he reached out a day or so later and said something really nice, and I appreciated that. But I knew that he's on his own journey, and it was important to sever that tie so that then he could go off and hopefully treat himself, heal. Because when you see somebody suffering, it's heartbreaking, especially when you know that they've got such a beautiful heart and soul, and just unfortunately suffered through such things that not even I could understand, but when people who are in your inner circle and they just don't understand, there's a difference between putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and and then thinking that you're putting yourself in their shoes when you're actually just taking sorry, this is the first time I've ever saying this. When you assume what shoes the other person is wearing and then place yourself in those shoes that are actually not the shoes that they're wearing. So like you assume that they are this kind of person, that this is their life, and this is their level of living talents and all that, and then you say, you suck. No, you suck. You're doing all this wrong. You're doing all this wrong. You're this, you're that, you're this. When they have not been in your shoes at all, they have not been on your journey, they have not read the books, they have not learned the lessons that you have learned. It doesn't matter what age you're at. We all learn lessons at different times, different lessons. So, and throughout this journey, I've learned to just not react anymore. Because, again, it's not you. It's them. And you shouldn't judge that either. Because then you come from a place of love where you realize that maybe you can say something that has influence, but if they want to change, they've got to make that decision. And people will, especially people close to you, because most people, they're not ready to go on that path of self-growth, to better themselves, because they know it's hard. And I'll admit, it's so hard. I can think back to so many moments in my life. It's hard. You lose a lot of people. You feel like you're losing yourself. You feel like the sacrifice is not ever going to be worth it. You have to go through a period of loneliness because you've decided that you're not going to allow placeholders in your life. Think about it. How many placeholders do you have in your life? People that you keep around because it feels better than feeling lonely. But I guarantee you, when you start choosing yourself, choosing to love yourself, to respect yourself, to know your own value, to say goodbye to these people, whether it's friends or even family. Not everyone is meant to be family doesn't have to be blood. I've had to say goodbye to some family members and it was difficult, but again, everyone has their own journey, their own path. And sometimes by you taking action to respect yourself and no longer to allow them to mistreat you, that's a big statement. Taking your power back is a big statement, not just to others, and it shouldn't matter what statement it's to others. It's what's the statement for you? What does it mean for you? I'm pausing because I feel like some of you are thinking about it right now. Good. Projection. And what's great to remember is self-awareness. So even though right now I'm speaking about others projecting onto you, I do it too. And once you become more self-aware, you realize when you're projecting onto somebody else as well. And that as you go through, as I mentioned in a previous video talking about shadow work, when you start dissecting and re-engineering your subconscious mind and reframing the traumatic memories and seeing them as good memories, it all changes. And you stop projecting as much, little by little, you know? So, yeah, I encourage you, I invite you to just look into your life. Think about the people in your life. Think about the things you're doing, the gym you're going to, the French class, the Spanish class you're taking online or whatever it is. The people that you spend most time with. Who deserves your time? And who should you be stepping away from? It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes people come back into your life after you've learned the lesson from that situation, and sometimes they come back. And you wonder, like, well, that's random. I thought I would never hear from them again. I never planned on speaking to them again. Is it your lesson, or is it theirs? Thank you for tuning in. Again, tuning in. Like, maybe you use the remote. I know I've got one for the TV and YouTube. Thanks for listening in. You know, I'm glad I'm back on here, because I feel it's just so important to share my journey. Not giving complete specifics, because I think there's beauty in mystery and keeping things sacred, but still sharing things with you, so in hopes that it could help you, or if it inspires you, that you share it with somebody that you care about. Maybe you have somebody like this in your life who's projecting onto you, and you care about them. Maybe you share this video with them. It all comes down to love. Love is not just chocolate hearts, chocolate boxes of hearts, whatever, flowers and all that. Love is not just romance. Romance isn't even love. I mean, it's beyond that. But love is a core value. It's a structural thing for not just humans. I mean, love is all around us. Like, I'm sure you could hear the birds out there. That's love too. So continue to spread the love for others and for yourself. Take care.